How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be going over my Thorns Barbarian leveling build for the Malignant League Season 1. This build has carried me pretty much anytime I've leveled the Barbarian, and I mean basically it works every time. It's buttery smooth and it's just like one of the easiest builds. You can do it World Tier 1, you can do it World Tier 2 if you want, and this will easily get you into World Tier 3 so that you can start transitioning into the end game and start using whatever build you want. But it's really nice build. Just keep in mind I will have a full-fledged build guide down in the description so that you can follow along if you want to with all the stats and stuff that you need, but we're gonna do it in the video of course as well. If you do enjoy the content that you see here today, do consider liking as well as subscribing for more Diablo 4 builds and open world content, and let's dive on into the video. Before we go into the build, just keep in mind that you're seeing gameplay on the left side that is from World Tier 1, one of the base dungeons, and then for World Tier 2, the Capstone Cathedral of Light. I literally get this every single build video I make where some guy says that the build won't work because you can't beat World Tier 2, so I'm just going to have it here for that person. Alright guys, we are on the gear section of the video, and we're just going to go over the gear, the skills, all that good stuff so that we know exactly what to get so whenever we're leveling. As you will notice when we go over the gear, that not a single piece is anything other than the base level. This is an ancestral gear, even though we're 45, well we're 48, but we can use ancestral gear, but I'm just showing you how it performed without it, so it'll be a little bit more accurate representation of what you will have. So let's go over the pieces. So for my helmet, we got life. I think that's the most important skill that you can get. This is actually a really nice helmet because it has cooldown reduction, which help with your shout up times, 1 to steel grass. We use steel grass, by the way, and then maximum life. Really the only thing you really need. These are just 3 stats. This is very likely what you're going to get, 3 stat items. And then we put basic skills grant 20% damage reduction. You don't need this one. This is a aspect that you can get from the Codex of Power. You don't need to like find it. Very easy, very nice for the build. Next we have our chest piece. This one has thorns on it, some DR while fortified. We found some armor and some challenging shout. This dropped legendary, and it came with that legendary effect. The fortified thing is actually pretty good. When you deal direct damage while you're berserking, you will get fortified. If you find this as a defense stat, you can put this on. This isn't mandatory, but I really like it. Works really well. We put double thorns in here. You know, in the helmet we put thorns in there too. These are normal thorns, not anything special. We just upgraded them to normal, a quality gem, so it should be pretty easy to find. But yeah, pretty simple. Thorns, damage reduction, some armor, challenging shout. Doesn't even need the challenging shout, just whatever, just basically thorns. We found some random pair of gloves. I put attack speed on them because they had a max roll. Got strength on it. It's all that really needed. You can slap on an aspect here if you want, up to you, don't matter, but I went without it with a lot of my gear so that it'll be a little bit more accurate to what you may get, but most of you will be fully decked out, but you'll see anyway. We went with these pants. It has armor, it has some more thorns, which is very important. We went some DR on it, and then we put disobedience, one of the minerals, again from the Codex of Power. This one's pretty nice and core, but again you can get it from the Codex of Power very easily. And then again we put some thorns gems in it. Very simple, very easy gear to get. For our boots, we got some fury cost reduction boots, some all stats, some move speed. I mean basically anything with move speed is ideal. Ideally you don't want dex because dex gives dodge, and dodge means they don't hit you. But again, just get what you can, but as long as it has MS on it, you're good. We put the Windwalker aspects, no, Ghostwalker aspect. This one is just whenever you go unstoppable, which is going to be your rally cry, you just become like the ability to phase 2 things and move faster. It's really good. Nothing too special, but really good. For the weapon, we got the Needle Flare aspect on this. This one again is another dungeon codex that you can easily get. We went for Vaughn damage because we don't scale crit on thorns. You can't get crit from thorns without a shrine, of course. We went damage to close because we're always close, and then strength. Some flat strength is great. If you have another stat, like some all stats work too. And then we put life on kill for extra sustain. You can put the basic skill gems if you want to use that as well, like basic attack skills, but I went with life on kill because it just helps with sustain. And then of course Needle Flare, very easy to get. for our axes, these axes are not very good. I just found this one. It dropped with Edgemaster. You don't really need it, but that's what we have. And this one will be closer to what you would probably want, but this one had expectant ideally for axes, and you want axes because axes give damage to healthy enemies. The other implicits are like damage to low health or weak enemies or whatever it's called. You can use that one too, but ideally you don't want to have anything that is like crit based, because you don't get any benefit from crit. So axes is ideal. The two-hand weapon is a overpower. It is always overpowered, so you can't really do anything about that. But for the weapons, you want axes. And then on them, ideally, and I'm gonna give you 4. You want Vaughn damage, you want strength, damage to close, and then maybe another stat, or like damage to slowed or something like that. All those work, but ideally you want like your main stat, which would be strength, Vaughn damage, damage to close, and then maybe a core skill damage or like some other generic damage stat on an axe, ideally. These two aspects mean literally nothing, but I just found them, I put them on. With our two-hand slashing weapon, again, you want a axe, but we have a pole arm. It does damage to injured, so it's okay. But again, Vaughn damage, damage to close, strength, and then we put the Death Wish aspect. This one's easy to get too. And you gain some thorns while you're berserking. You're near constantly berserking, not constantly because you're level 45, but you're berserking fairly easy with Still Grasp, Warcry, and then like other things that give you berserking. So it's pretty okay. For our ring, we got an awful ring. It's called awful ring. It's actually pretty awful though. Ideally, we want like health, Vaughn damage, maybe some lucky hit stuff, but just get Vaughn and damage to close or health. That'll be best. Some type of thorns, things that complement thorns work. Basically life. And this one's kind of the same too. We just got some life on it, some armor, put some skulls in here, whatever. Kind of whatever. It is what it is, but it works. And for our necklace, we got again another thorns, some DR to close, and some more DR. This one has a lot of DR on it, which is pretty fortunate. But again, we didn't even upgrade these because I didn't think it mattered. And as you can see through the gameplay, it doesn't really matter. So it is what it is. All right, for our skill tree, this is what I use, but there are some things you can change. Starting, you should almost always go Flay, Enhanced Flay, and then Combat Flay. This is basically going to give you some thorns and DR early. Since you won't have a lot of sources to be able to guarantee early, this is good. I use Rend with Enhanced Rend and Violent Rend because you're always going to be Vaughning enemies, and this one keeps the Vaughn going. So it's actually pretty good whenever you can get a good way of Vaughning. The best way is with Flay, that's why I use it for the Vaughn damage, but you can go Frenzy if you enjoy it, or a core skill, you can go Hoda. I know people like Hoda. You can even probably do some double swing stuff, but you may want to like get the ground stump whenever you do it, if you go like double swing. But I think that Ren has really good bleed synergy, and it has really good Vaughn uptime, and it works really well with your thorns. Or you can go Hoda. It's up to you. Just don't use Whirlwind. Of all skills, just never use Whirlwind. It's really bad. Over here, we grabbed Imposing Presence. We didn't grab it first, but that's what we're using. We have Rally Cry, and then we grabbed the Fortify, Strategic Rally Cry, because the thing is, like, you don't really use Fury that much outside of just using your core skill. It's not important. Like, it helps, I guess. You could go tactical. But for me, like, if you're playing solo, Strategic Rally Cry just help with defense, Fortify. Super good. Down here, we get Outbursts as well as Tough as Nails. These are kind of standard. Always max these out. And then Challenging Shout with Enhanced Challenging Shout and Strategic Challenging Shout, because they give you thorns equal to 30% of your max life. No brainer there. Pretty simple and easy to get. So over here, we grab Warcry. I would highly advise when it comes to Warcry that you don't get it early. Like maybe around like 20 or something you may get it. I would get something else. But Warcry is fine. You can get like Call of the Ancients or something instead of Warcry early. because it's kind of worthless until you get the thorn aspect, in my opinion, the one that gives thorns while you're berserking. But when you do, grab Enhanced Warcry and then get Mighty Warcry, because the Fortify is more valuable than the Power by a large margin, in my opinion. So yeah. Over here we got Booming Voice, of course, because we're using 3 shouts. You always get Booming Voice as well as Raid Captain when you're using triple shouts. I use Gruntle Yell. You don't have to, but I like it. It helps. And then we always get Swiftness. Swiftness gives move speed, and this is like a mandatory point in literally every Barbarian build. If you're not grabbing this, you're kind of like throwing. Over here, we grabbed Hamstring. Reason for this is if you have gear that gives slow damage, this will guarantee that no matter what, you'll get it because something will hit you. They'll start bleeding from your thorns, and then you can get slow. That's why we have it. And then we have Pit Fighter for damage to close and distance damage reduction, and Slaying Strike because you do increase damage against injured enemies, and that's going to just help you kill things faster. You can actually use Death Blow too early in place of berserking as well, by the way. It's really good. Honestly, you can still use it over having it right now, straight up, if you want to. For 2 Weapon Master skills, because Weapon Master skills are good. Anyway, we use Steel Grasp. Steel Grasp will pull them to you. Enhanced Steel Grasp will make them Vaughn. This helps with Vaughn uptime, because you want to stay Vaughn, because that's one of your few multipliers. And then Fighter Steel Grasp, this will guarantee that whenever you hit an enemy with it, you get berserking for 2 seconds. You have 2 charges, so you know you can keep it going for a long time. You can get the aspect that makes it so that your helmet gets like additional weapon charge. That's really good. Weapon mastery charge, really good, but this works well. Down here, you want to grab Thick Skin because every time you take damage, you get Fort. And then Counter Offensive. This is one of the better, I think it's one of the better, if not the best, like damage multipliers for the Barb. Especially if you can guarantee Fort, because it just gives you so much increased damage. As long as you just have over 50% of your health as Fort. So super good. You can grab Defensive Stance, but I didn't have enough points for that. Down here, obviously, you grab Unconstrained so that you can have more berserking time and more damage for while you're berserking. And that's pretty much it with the tree. Nothing too crazy. You can always mix and match, like I said. Call of the Ancients work. Death Blow work. But overall, this is pretty much all you need. Expertise. I don't have an expertise because I'm a Giga Chad, but I mean, you're going to be leveling, so I don't really like giving expertise as an option. You can use like the 2-hand sword, I guess. Since you're ideally going to have hand axe. Basically, whenever you have one or the other, just swap it out, I guess. That's basically what you'll have to do. Otherwise, that's pretty much it for the build. And there you have it, guys. That is my Thorns Barbarian build. This should easily get you into World Tier 3 and set you up for pretty much the season. Feel free to leave any comments down below, as I generally answer most, if not all of them. And I will be live streaming this on Twitch for Season 1, and I'll be practicing for other builds, like probably today. So feel free to stop by and support the channel. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.